One, and we're live.
Hello, Luca. How are you today?
I am doing very well. How are you, Mina?
I'm all good.
It's good to find you here in this gray meeting room, like London's weather. No, it's actually sunny.
Yes,
It's
it's sunny. Touch wood.
Yes. Hello, LinkedIn. How are you?
We're back, and this is our recurring series where we come back here every month talking about Vinton, everything that we're building, and why we're building it, and how our users can access and use it.
Yes.
And this is just an informal way for us to let everyone know what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yes, and as part of creating solutions like Vinton for the enterprise, we face some boring challenges, like compliance. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, when I saw, what are we talking about this week? Oh, we have to do one on compliance. Oh, it's going to be boring. It's going to be, but it's not. It is not.
It's important.
It's very important, but also it's going to be fun. So stick around. I think it's going to be fun.
Yes. So.
Why do we do this? Once you said, well, because we want to pause for a second and share with the world what we're working on or what we've worked on. Mm-hmm. In this case, all of these things are available when?
Next week.
Define next week.
So
Monday.
No, not Monday. So it will be either Tuesday.
Okay.
Or Thursday. So the final.
So today's Thursday. So it's
next Thursday.
4 days, guys. 5 days. Can you wait 5 days? 5 days. Go to the App Exchange. Click. Get it now. You'll get the latest version. And it will have what we're about to show you, which is very important for our clients, especially, the latest series of our clients. They're all very concerned about compliance. They are looking for a solution that will help them, with governance, with, security layers, data that sits in the right place, as well as managing consent and managing participants' consent.
Yeah. So we've developed quite a few features for compliance.
Should we go through them?
So let's just go through them one by one.
So this is going to be, as always, very informal. If you have questions, please ask them, and they're about compliance. So we need to be serious, but you'll see this is going to be fun. So let me share my screen. We prepared a couple of things. Where is the share screen? I always forget. Extra camera, share screen. Entire screen. I'm going to share this one, and it's going to be zoom effect for a second, but then not anymore. Okay. Now, I put our screen there so we know what you guys are looking at. Okay. Now we are in a demo environment where in native video admin, we've jumped, from media platform, which is where you would normally land when you enter with, a bunch of very important, configurations over here. But what we want to take your attention to is to Vinton, and specifically, we're talking about video calls, right?
Correct.
Video calls. Now, Mina, take it away. Where do we go? Do we go first to individual note takers?
Yes, let's go to individual note takers
now,
first.
A bit of a premise here. So what are we discussing? We're talking about how do we manage consent, informed consent from participants in a video call specifically, right? So we've set up a number of features that make it super easy for large companies and small companies to manage the way in which their teams are inviting others to participate in meetings that are recorded, how they're asking or they're making sure that they're informed about the fact that the call is being recorded, transcribed, summarized, and that all the data will be safely stored in Salesforce.
Right.
So we start with the individual note takers, which is where our clients will be able to enable Vinton for each user. So there's a calendar connection. That's why you see calendar here.
Yes. So this is more of an admin view. So behind the scenes, what you can do is you can define how the note taker joins a call, what happens when the note taker joins, which calls the note taker should join. So all of those things, we have given more control to the admins of the organization to make sure that their team is using the note taker according to the compliance and guidelines that they have for their organization. So the first feature is if you scroll all the way to the bottom.
And this is important because in my sharing my screen, this is not for users individually. As Mina was saying, this is prepared so that centrally, from an admin governance perspective, all of these things can be set in place so that we ensure that everybody across the organization has a consistent way of managing the dynamics by which the bot joins the call or doesn't join, when the recording starts, how we manage, capturing the consent from users.
Exactly. And usually when you are talking about compliance, an organization have one compliance guidelines for everyone. So it made sense for us to sort of have that in a centralized place from where the admins can control that. Because if you give that option to users, which you can, but then it would be bit of a work for an admin to make sure that they coordinate with each individual user in the organization and make sure that they're compliant.
That's a very good point. And you can see that here, right, coming to life. So you see we have meeting join preferences, and you can see that in this example here, all of these options are available to users. So this is how an admin will manage. Do we allow users to select an option that says that every meeting that is in my calendar, a bot should join and try to record? Join only when I'm the host of the meeting, join only internal meetings, external meetings, and only meetings that I accept, or ad hoc with no automated joining. So all of these options are available. And you can see in this setup would be an organization that gives freedom to its users to do whatever they want, basically, for the dynamic. But our organizations might actually not like some of these options, so that they would do something like this, right? So they would say, maybe I only want my team to actually join internal meetings, right? And so these are the only options that I allow my users to have, or even just one, right? So that will be it. We got Vinton, but we only using it for internal meetings. I think you get it. I hope you get it.
Correct.
And now I'm going to add them back on because it's my demo and I want to have the options.
So now the new feature, if you scroll all the way down, you can see the default recording start behavior, where it says allow note takers to join without automatically starting recording, which means that now we give you an option where
Toggle back.
Yes, and if you toggle it back on, so you have two options available. One is what we have right now. The note taker joins and starts recording the call immediately after it has joined the call. But we give you another option, which means that the note taker joins the call, but it's in pause mode, which means that it's not recording any of the conversation yet. You can either type start recording in the meeting chat or go back to Vinton tab. You would see an interface where it would have a button which is called start recording.
A bit of a story here. So when we talk to our clients, some of them say, oh my God, I need to fully automate this thing. So make sure that the recording is always automated for all calls. And then someone from compliance jumps in and says, well, wait a second. Can we actually have that no bot joins automatically, but my team invites the bot to join once they've managed consent and once they want to record, right? So both areas are good and we can manage both of those, but there was an area in the middle, right? Where you want to fully automate a lot of it, as much as possible, but then the crucial element, you want to have it managed and handled separately so that, again, the users can manage consent. And this is the kind of the two extreme converging, and that will be the joining in pause mode. So it's fully automated. The bot will be there. Will remind everybody, hey, hello, I've joined. So I'm here. I'm ready to record when you want. And that's, kind of the best of both in a way, because then it's super easy to say, yep, everybody's happy with it. Let's start the recording, right? So, and that is...
Yes. And if your organization is very strict about recording, you cannot give the users the option to join and start recording automatically. So you can just not show that, which means that every note taker connected to this particular organization would just join in a pause mode, and users would go in the call and they would say, hey, my note taker is in the call. Do you mind if I start recording?
There we go.
And that's when you start recording the call.
Exactly. This is then coming to life. So let me update this. This actually comes to life.
Can you move back the other option as well so we can see?
Both of them, So we can see both of them.
Yes.
Still, the default is join without recording unless I say start recording. So now we've updated these preferences for the individual note takers, and that's where we were. So I want to show you if I go to my, let me open this in a new tab. So we're doing this together, guys, right? So let's take a look at it. So in this demo example, if I go to my preferences, now my admin has set up all of these options, and now I'm the user. And as an individual user, I will find these options when I connect my calendar and I set up my note taker. And, if you were looking at the screen, right, so we were, kind of giving different options for how to name your note taker. We were giving different options. You remember me adding them all back for how the bot behavior is, internal meetings only when I'm the host, only the calls that I accept. My default is actually not that one, but join every meeting on my calendar, right? So that automates. So the bot will join, but with this new thing that we've just set up, the start behavior for the recording is actually waiting for the command, right? And this is the other option that we saw earlier. We just
set up.
We just set up, exactly.
So you can see that in the settings, we'd given both the options to the user. So
Yes.
the default was set to join in pause mode, which means that when I connect my note taker, it would join in pause. It would have this as default. But I, as a user, can go and change it back if I do not like this option for myself.
Exactly. Example, some of our global clients will have teams that operate in different jurisdictions. And in different jurisdictions, you have different attitude, but also legislation about managing consent for calls. And when that happens, then you might actually allow your team in a certain region to actually have the automated start recording, no worries, like it's always been, let's record all the calls unless someone says, I don't really like it, and we take it out. In some other regions, you will have, namely, to name a few, here in Europe, we know, some European countries are very concerned about this type of regulations. So they will want to take more control, and for them, it will be the option to take from there.
So
now, yes.
So that was the first one.
Exactly. Oh, we have a lot of them. Let's go. It gets more exciting. So stick around. Now, where do I go?
So next we could go to voice announcement because it's related after the note taker joins. So if you could go to the last tab.
Can we do that last?
Okay, let's do that last.
Okay. That was the fun part. Do we do opt-outs? You see these two things. Opt-ins and opt-outs.
Yeah, if you go to the settings tab, there's another that we have. So over here, you would notice enable notification, enable late joiner participation notifications.
Ooh,
if you enable that, yes. So sometimes what happens is that you've joined a meeting and then participant joined 10 minutes late or 15 minutes late. But what happens is that the initial message that the note taker sends in the chat about this call is being recorded, or you as a user have asked everybody for consent, but the participant who's joining late might not be aware that the call is being recorded.
Right.
So what this features, if you enable that, it sends a message to the late joiner that, hello, I'm a meeting note taker. Please note that this call is being recorded and summarized. So everybody knows that the recording is being summarized and transcribed.
That's a very, very important point, actually. The late joiners has been, kind of a pain for some, not only because, some people are always late. No, but seriously, as Mina was saying, the call is being already recorded. You've managed to consent, you've done everything, right, and then someone 5 minutes in shows up, and all of a sudden you're already recording. You want to inform them, and this is the way in which you inform and you create informed consent. Now, anything else that we should?
I think this is just late joiner. Again, one thing to note about late joiner, for example, you have joined a meeting, but you leave and join again in 60 seconds, then you would not see the message because we don't want to spam everyone with messages.
Yes.
So we have a time window in which we sort of see who's joined and who's not joined, and then send them.
Another little story here. If you've ever dealt with developers and product teams, they're always thinking about the edge cases, right? And you spend a lot of time catering for the obvious feature is in place, and now you start thinking, okay, so what happens when someone joins and then I can't hear you, I cannot see you. You
Yeah,
know,
I want to
that
share
thing.
my screen.
I want to
but
share
I
my
can't,
screen, but I can't. Oh, I need to leave and come back.
Exactly.
And that's the situation that we handle.
Exactly.
And we say, okay, well, come back. You're not going to be popped again with, hey, by the way, this call is being recorded and so on. So that's kind of the idea there. I love talking about edge cases. Not. I do not. I do not.
So next we have note taker opt-outs.
Okay, now Mina, you explain. I'll go and you explain it. No, this is super cool.
So this is basically what we want to do over here. So for example, you're in a call with a customer and the customer has said, please don't record any calls that you have with our organization. It is against our compliance rules, rules that we have within the organization.
Yep.
So, but you want all of your meetings recorded.
All the
except
other
this.
ones.
Exactly.
Yep. All the other ones.
So
exactly.
In that case, you can go back to your admin and you can see that, say that, hey, this is the domain name for the customer who does not prefer to be recorded. Please add that in the blacklist or
Yep.
the note taker opt-out list, right?
So the opt-out will work as a blacklist, as Mina was saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for all those domains that are in this list, or individuals, because it can go down to the individual level. So
Exactly.
for these specific people or for these companies, so everybody that is on the calendar and joins the call and has a domain name that is on this list, do not join, right? And again, as Mina was saying, we've dealt with companies, large organizations that have clients that are very concerned about these not being approved. They don't want to ever see recording, transcribing happening in their calls. It's absolutely for them. And we at this level, we don't want to delegate it down to the user to remember, oh, when I'm meeting with Mina, I should not record, but when I meet with Frank, I should always record, right?
Correct.
So we don't want that to be delegated to the users. Yes. And that's where, again, centrally, some governance, the admin can go in and say, okay, so these 3 companies that we deal with, we never record, and they go in here. Yes,
so that's one part of it. Another angle from this is that you have internal calls with HR that you don't want recorded. So when a meeting has when you are in a meeting that is internal, you don't want that call recorded. You only want external meetings recorded. So that if you want to do that, you add a domain over here.
Yep.
So for example, if I add Vinton.ai over here, any calls in which all of the participants are from that same domain, the note taker would not join, considering that it's an internal call because all the participants are internal
in the same domains,
and they're not to be recorded.
Yep.
And sometimes you would say that, I have a note taker, I can just set it to external calls only, and then the note taker would just join external calls. But some another edge case, some organizations have more than one internal domain. So you can have 5 internal domains, but the note taker would only know of one.
Yep.
So in that case, you can come here and specify the internal domains. So what we do check is all of the participant, if they're from the same internal domain, the note taker would not join.
Yep.
Even if there's one external domain of a customer who's not present in this customer blacklisted domain,
yes,
the note taker would join. So it just gives you the level of control that you want for the note taker. So you can basically engineer where the note taker goes. Yep. And records and does not bother anyone who does not want to be recorded at the moment.
Yeah. And again, if you're not feeling these pains, we're with you because we can cater for you, but we more and more large organizations are taking a keen interest in understanding how to deal with AI note takers. They want to internalize it. They want to take control of that experience. We're helping them because from the start, we're built into their own database. We drop only data and only in their database, but there's a layer on top, and this is what we're
also
discussing.
A lot of organizations are still figuring out policies for recording in a conversation. True. They're defining those policies. So up until they don't have those policies defined, they can still use the note taker in a very controlled environment.
Yes.
So you would know what this technology brings. You can bring the data into your Salesforce, the one that you can bring, right? Yeah. So you're not saying no to a note taker because of a policy that applies to a certain domain or a certain customer. So let's start somewhere, and then we build together with you where at one point, every conversation is recorded.
Yeah. A quick note on recording internal calls, like in the example from earlier. Another point that I would make is, in general, we also have another, minor functionality, but very important, which is if you set your meeting to private, with a little
Correct.
lock
On your calendar.
on your calendar. Exactly. When you set it up, you say, oh, this is private. Vinton will actually interpret that as, okay, I got you. I'm not going to add the data from this call in your Salesforce or in anyone's Salesforce, but I will create a bit of summary and I'll only send it to you via email, right?
Yes.
So this is another functionality. It's been there for some time. It kind of overlaps with this, opt-outs and internal domains, but it's a bit more specific to that one particular call that you don't want to ever hit your Salesforce or leave in Salesforce in the future. Now, opt-ins, we're not going to talk about. They're similar, right?
Yes. So opt-ins, you cannot use both opt-ins and opt-outs together because opt-outs is a different functionality, so you can't use it in opt-in. So with opt-in, it's a more conservative approach where there's only one customer who wants to be recorded, and rest of your customers are saying no, do not record any of our calls. You just add the domain name of that, or there's a list of people in your organization there who are comfortable with recording, so you just add their emails as whitelisted emails. So what happens is the note taker only joins when that email or one of that customer domain is present. So it's a more conservative approach to note takers. Again,
I'll give you another example, another story for the opt-in, and I think it will be clear. Some of our clients also don't only use individual note takers; they may also use an org-wide note taker. We would call it the Vinton note taker. Acme Corporation will call it Acme Corporation note taker. When they use that, they want to control when it's used and the calls that this particular note taker will join. And in the same way that I can, CC you in my emails, even if you don't give me your consent, I could actually add you to my call. And then you, note taker in this case, would be invited to join the call. Now, with the opt-in turned on, it would mean that automatically the bot will join and will see, oh, I'm not welcome here.
Correct.
Because this is not on my opt-in, and off I go, right? So it's a way, again, to put boundaries and control around when our calls need to be recorded, when our bot is active and when our bot is joining and active and recording in the conversation.
Correct. We also have an edge case that we took care of in this particular.
Talk about the edge case.
So what happens if you are an email address which is as opted in, but you leave in between the call? Does the note taker leave or does it stay there?
Yeah.
So we have a feature which is called presence gating monitored, which means that you can either toggle it active or inactive, which means that if you want the note taker to leave with you or with the whitelisted participant, the note taker leaves as the participant leaves. But if this is not something that you want, the note taker stays in the call. So you can choose that as well.
Yes.
And
so I know this edge case. It's actually a company that has two departments, and one needs to discuss commercials that the other side should not be aware of, right? They provide a service, and when they provide that service, they need to have complete separation between the commercial operations and the analysis and research operations. So this actually comes to life because they could actually have a joint call at the beginning with a customer, talk about a number of operations that will happen, and then at some point there's a cutoff, and a whole team, part of the organization needs to leave because they don't need to be aware and part of the commercial conversation that ensues. And this is a very good edge case that this functionality takes care of. And you can see how we're dealing, with very interesting and I challenge you to find another AI note taker that allows you to do, this, all the while saving. I went to voice announcement before. No, wait. That allows all of these to happen. Now, voice announcement.
Let's go.
That's my favorite. So, what are voice announcements?
It's voice announcements. A note taker joins and announces if sometimes what happens is if I'm joining a meeting, I sometimes don't look at the chat, right?
Yeah.
And I don't read all of the messages.
And there's
in
a
the
lot
chat.
of people in the call, so you don't even see that there's a note
Exactly.
taker called the Lucas note taker. So again, how do we make you and everybody else that is in the call available, aware that the call is being recorded?
Also, sometimes what happens is that sometimes we've heard it back from our customers that people join the meeting and it says Luca Benini's note taker and it's NO and everything else is ... So when someone like Nina joins, she starts talking to Luca Benini, thinking
Yeah. Oh, this is
it's
Luca.
actually Luca.
This is Luca. Hey,
And
turn
then-
on your camera.
And then 2 minutes later, when Luca's not getting back to me, I'm like, why is Luca so rude to me?
Exactly.
And that's when I realized that it's a note taker.
Oh, it's a note taker. So I'm talking to a bot, effectively. So how do we make sure that everybody's aware, once again, that the call is being recorded and summarized? Well, here it is, right? So voice announcement. We have languages, and we were, having fun. And this is the fun part of compliance because we make it super easy, right? So you select your language, and we have 1 million languages available.
Let's go,
Like,
Italian.
No. First, we hear British. The fun part will come. Sorry, and you can choose male or female, and exactly what you want it to say, right? So this again is not to the individual user, right? We cannot have everybody thinking and deciding what the note taker will announce itself. But we can have it centralized. In this case, it's a very straightforward. The default is very straightforward. Hey, I'm an AI note taker. Don't talk to me. As Mina was saying, I've joined to record and transcribe this discussion. Easy, simple. And let's see if the preview. Can you actually hear it? I hope it was.
I don't know.
Can you hear it? Can you nod if you hear it? Can you hear it when I play it?
No.
Oh, no, it's not. Oh, you can't hear it. Okay, well, the fun part was when you leave the message in English, but you choose a different voice, like Italian. I don't know anyone with an Italian accent.
No one.
No, but if for whatever reason you have an Italian mail and you want the Italian mail to read in English, and you click play.
You need to update.
I know. I need to update. I mean, you cannot hear it, which I'm really, really sad about. But if you could, you would enjoy English spoken with a very thick Italian accent. Now, this is all available starting Tuesday, we said? Next week? Thursday, in a week. So Thursday of next week, go to your App Exchange, click on Get In Now, and you'll get all of these updates.
Yes, and this is just a part of the many updates that are going live. We did Field Agent in our last LinkedIn Live. That is also available with this update, all of the compliance updates.
Field Agent is magic, right? I mean, this is fantastic, and we have to do it. We are the only ones doing it. We are the best ones in the world at doing this, and it's fantastic. But the real reason why our clients will buy our solution, I believe, is going to be Field Agent and everything that we do, updating automatically Salesforce based on rules that Mina has designed, that I don't know how they do it, but it looks beautiful. It works wonders. You talk to your Salesforce, and all of a sudden you have a new record created. You have all your records updated in the individual fields. And it's not only the last conversation, but it's the aggregate of all the history of a record and the last conversation, and how does that change the description, the status, the close date, if it's an opportunity, the number of licenses, all the fields. That's pure magic. And the other one that is really magic is Scribe as well. I mean, the relaunch, or Scribe 2.0 is a new version. It's amazing. This is our bot-less transcriber. So it sits on your laptop. It will help you keep track of your conversations without actually joining the call. Now, this is quite in contrast in some jurisdiction with what we were just saying about compliance.
Yeah.
But again, it's absolutely not only legal, but encouraged, so long as you inform and you ask everybody, hey, are you okay with me transcribing this conversation? No recording is saved, but the transcript and all the summary, insights,
Yes.
next steps, email follow-up drafted, coaching analysis, all of that, and field agent updating your Salesforce, all of it coming from a bot sitting in your laptop and saying, hey, do you want me to scribe this? Boom.
Yeah. And we've updated Scribe. We initially launched Scribe in a beta version, so now it's a full version. It's we have launched both the Windows app and the Mac app, so both of them are available. Our transcription quality has gotten better. We have added notes and bookmarks and a few features like that. Maybe we'll do a next LinkedIn Live
Yes.
about Scribe and demo it, because I think we're on time today.
Are we?
Yes.
What's the time?
4:30.
4:30 exactly. Okay, so 30 minutes in, 30 minutes were available to us. This is, exciting. It's amazing how you guys make compliance exciting. Well done. This is going to be a massive, massive release for us. What I will do, I will actually record the 5 seconds of the announcement with an Italian male voice speaking in English, and I will share the link in the comments to this event. So go and find it, play it back, and have some fun thinking and talking and considering the highest level of compliance and security and governance for your AI note taker directly in your Salesforce.
And yes, thank you so much, everyone. It was wonderful being back here.
See you on the App Exchange on Thursday for the new version. Thank you, everybody. Bye.